Welcome to the show, everybody. This is episode number 222 of the Iron Coop Fights movies. This episode is available on iTunes, YouTube, Google Play, and hosted by SoundCloud. I'm Kier, your host. With me on the show today are my co-hosts Emerson.
Hello.
And Everett.
Hey, what's up?
This week, the team reviews Bridge of Spies. I'm going to explain our rating system. On this show, we give the titles that we have watched a rating of win, draw, or loss. A win is a title that we would highly recommend, while a draw is a title we didn't love but recognize others may appreciate. A loss means we do not recommend the title. On to our review of the week. During the Cold War, the Soviet Union captures U.S. pilot Francis Gary Powers after shooting down his U-2 spy plane. Sentenced to 10 years in prison, Powers' only hope is New York lawyer James Donovan, played by Tom Hanks, recruited by a CIA operative to negotiate his release. Donovan boards a plane to Berlin, hoping to win the young man's freedom through a prisoner exchange. If all goes well, the Russians would get Rudolf Abel, played by Mark Rylance, the convicted spy who Donovan defended in court. Everett, you want to go first?
Sure. I give this movie a win.
Usually don't go first.
I'll go first, but
okay.
I give this movie a win. I thought
right.
it was really well made. It kept me interested the entire way through. It had a really good soundtrack. In terms of what's it called? Trying to find the words.
Mojo.
I don't know. I guess it's like premise or something. Like I like Cold War era movies. I think they're actually really interesting.
Concept.
Yeah, that concept. In terms of Tom Hanks' performances, I think it's definitely one of his upper echelon films. Top 15 at least, to maybe top 10. Because he's done a bunch of movies that you can't like categorize them all that much. But
I don't disagree with what you're saying, but it's really funny to hear it's one of his upper echelon films, top 15 at least.
Like, is it top 15? It's got to be higher.
High, okay. I'm really shitty with numbers. He did a good performance, but I wouldn't necessarily say it was his best performance that I've seen. But overall, I thought the movie was really good. I'll get more into spoilers when we get there. Sorry, I'm really bad at speaking sometimes. You guys know that.
Is Everett really choppy for you, Emerson?
His audio is fine.
Okay.
But his videos,
because my internet's not great right now.
No, your connection quality is fine. I can see it in the bottom corner of whenever you're looking at someone, you can see someone's connection quality in the bottom left-hand corner.
Oh, okay. All right. So, I mean, Emerson, why don't you go, and then maybe we'll talk about where this ranks.
Okay, so I give it a win as well. I think that there's a pretty firm comparison here to be made to Charlie Wilson's War, and I would say a lot of the things that I was not particularly happy about in Charlie Wilson's War, not necessarily from the acting side, but from the story side and, certain side effects and the way the pacing and the like central plot points were shown. Things I didn't like in Charlie Wilson's War, I really, really liked in Bridge of Spies. I thought Tom Hanks was an excellent actor. I thought almost all the acting in this was pretty good. And I liked the subject matter. I liked how we're introduced to characters. I liked how the plot sort of unfolds and you're focused on this relatively narrow point of view, but you see these wider events happening all around you. And it's cool to see those type of things. And we'll talk about what those are in spoilers. But for me, this was a very similar movie to Charlie Wilson's War that was much better. So absolutely a win for me.
I give it a win also. And I think the best part for me was I think they had really good actors in every role.
Mm-hmm.
Like every role was really well done, especially all the Russian people and East Germany people that he runs into. Like, and then just the idea of the negotiation where they did a really good job of not making it complicated, because if you go read the like real story, there are a lot of like acronyms and like different agencies and blah, 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 that could easily lose you. And I think that the movie did a really good job of just being like Russia and East Germany and like this guy Pryor and then this guy Abel and this guy Powers. And let's just talk about those guys. And like, it was really well done. I think the script is super tight. And I also thought there was some good writing in there. Like, well, I guess we'll go into spoilers, but You know, at the beginning of the movie when he's talking, like he has his point of view on what a collision means,
Mhm.
like one collision versus 5 collisions.
Mhm.
And then later on in the story, that's the argument that he makes to like, we're making one transaction, not 2 separate transactions. It's like, this is like the hero's journey. Like, this
Mhm.
is why he's the right man for the job. And I know it wasn't a theme that they like absolutely hammered at, but the writing is there. Like the skeleton of the story is intact, unlike many other stupid movies that we often watch, where they're like, they don't even understand that concept on a basic level of like, this is why in the 3rd act, this is the right guy to do the thing. It's like, here's our guy who learned karate. Now here he is riding a dragon. Isn't he a great hero?
And we're not referring to any movie, of course. Like there's nothing we're referencing.
It's off the top of your head.
Yeah, like I love it when my hero in the 3rd act just suddenly he really cares about dragons and riding them. That's I like that coming out of nowhere. But it's from the comics, so that means it's okay. So back to this movie though. I think Tom Hanks was great, but I don't even think he's the best part of the movie. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Mark Rylance won something here, didn't he?
I don't know.
I think he did, because I think this is when he came on my radar. He's got
Let me look.
something. 2016, best performance by an actor in a supporting role, Bridge of Spies. Yep. Does that surprise you guys?
No,
Not
he
really.
was fantastic.
He was fantastic. I actually, in my mind, thought he was a bigger part of the movie, but he does actually disappear. Like after his trial, he's pretty much gone till the end.
Yeah.
It's
It's interesting. I like forget about him every so often. Like he's not in a ton of stuff.
well, he wasn't in a ton of stuff ever. And then after this movie, like, let's see, like I'm just gonna see if there's anything notable here that prior to this movie, things that I've heard of. I haven't heard of any of these. Bing, a TV series. I don't know. That was the last thing he did before Bridge of Spies. And then he got the BFG. And then he had Dunkirk, which you guys probably remember him.
Yep.
And then he was in Ready Player One as Holiday, which was kind of a weird role.
Yeah, honestly.
Waiting for the Barbarians. I don't know what that is. The Trial of the Chicago 7. That was a good one. You guys, did you all see that? Or was that just me?
Yes, I watched.
I didn't.
That's a good movie. You should
Yeah.
go watch that ever since. Didn't we review it?
Did we?
No, not like as an official review. It was more just
I
like
just talked about it
we talked about it a bit
Yeah.
and like
because
how
I
it
wasn't
was.
planning on.
I
it
think
to
you
be
guys
amazing.
talked about it.
Yeah, I wasn't like prepared for that one. He's in the Undeclared War, which is a TV series. The Phantom of the Opera, which is completed but not released. Don't Look Up, which is in post-production. The Outfit, post-production. The Way of the Wind, Bones and All, The Brutalist, which are in pre-production. I don't know any of those things. So I don't know. Like, I think he's a fantastic actor. He's a little old.
Yeah.
Though. So maybe he'll be a Marvel villain at some point. What if he's
Maybe.
like, would you guys, I'm just tossing this out. What if he was Doctor Doom? What would you think about that?
He's a little old
I-
for Doctor Doom.
I
A comic version Doctor Doom, but you could make a different Doctor Doom.
I don't know. I guess I have like a pretty specific version of Doctor Doom cemented in my head.
I don't see any way he takes the role where it doesn't become insulting to him.
I don't know. I mean, Holiday was a weird ass role.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that was like a very specific.
But like then
character.
he's like fighting people in the 3rd act. He's like flying.
I just feel
around.
like he could portray. Isn't Doctor Doom like in a bit of anguish all the time?
I have no
sort of,
idea.
yeah.
Isn't he like angry and rejected, but also like a very accomplished person?
Yeah, I think he's the de facto leader of Latveria, but he's also like a hardcore fighter. He uses like magic and stuff and flies around and
Well,
there's armor.
He's a hardcore fighter. He
Like-
uses magic and flies around.
Am I,
I
wrong?
mean,
No, it's just like when I think of a fighter, I think of a fighter, not magic.
Well, yeah, you
and
think of like
flying
a
around.
fisticuffs fighter, not like a
I don't
throw
think
spells at people.
anybody that's gonna fly around with magic, Like even when Doctor Strange does it, it's his cape doing it more or less, or something, right?
I
Isn't that
guess.
the
I mean,
cloak of levitation? So like,
that's
if
him
he's
flying though. Doctor Doom. I don't actually know how he flies, but I know he can fly.
yeah, my point is like I think a lot of people are gonna look stupid doing that unless they like
Even Icarus kind of looks questionable in like the Eternals when he's flying around.
Yeah, it's hard. Even with Superman, it's a little weird sometimes. They do a good job with him, but it's because he's Superman. It's like an iconic thing. Your mind accepts it. Anyway, I was just throwing that out there. I'm not saying that has to be it, but I will say this for Doctor Doom, if they go like the traditional, like he's like the Fantastic Four, and he's like super handsome and super smart and all that shit. That's not a very interesting character anymore to me. Like the fact that he's good at everything all the time. I think an older guy could bring something else to the role.
Yeah, but we can toss around good ideas all day. They don't. Nah.
John Watts could come up with a good script.
We'll see.
All right. So
Fingers crossed.
Let's talk a little bit about. Let's sort of talk about Spielberg's movies here. So, like,
right.
I don't know, is this top 15 or not? That's a good question. To me, I've never seen Jaws. Have you guys?
Yeah,
I have.
I've seen it.
Is that
It's
top 15?
it's pretty good for when it came out. Now, if you watch it now, it's pretty low quality just because the practical effects are kind of shitty.
So it requires some nostalgia. What about this one? Close
E.T.
Encounters.
or not E.T. Close Encounters is pretty good.
It's all right. I it's not bad, but I don't think it like sometimes I think it gets overhyped.
So Bridge of Spies is better.
I would say so, in my opinion.
Well, I don't know. They're different movies entirely, but I'd say maybe a little bit better.
Well, we're talking about trying to rank them. So like Raiders
Well,
of
it's
the
like
Lost
what
Ark.
would I be more likely to watch? What would I be more likely to recommend? Raiders of the Lost Ark is pretty good.
I never really liked them, if I'm being honest. I thought by the third one they were like milking it.
I have a bias, sort of. I don't really like Indiana Jones, and I haven't seen Raiders of the Lost Ark since I was a kid, so I can't really make a decision.
I
think
like Raiders of the
the
Lost
first
Ark.
one is okay. So E.T. I haven't seen that since I was a kid. Is that?
Yeah,
I
I
haven't
remember
seen
it being
in a long
good.
time.
I'm sure it is. So is Poltergeist a horror movie that Spielberg did?
He didn't direct it.
Isn't this?
He produced it.
Oh,
He produced and wrote it.
okay. I want to see director stuff. Indiana Jones. We kind of talked about it. Color Purple. We didn't watch that, did we?
I didn't.
I've never seen The Color Purple.
Have I watched that? I don't know. That might be worth checking out. The Goonies. He does have a lot of hits, actually. This may not crack top 15.
Yeah, but
Goonies is a
he
great one,
didn't
too.
direct The Goonies though. But The Goonies is a good movie.
Oh, right. I keep missing that. Empire of the Sun. I did not like that movie.
I didn't watch it.
Yeah, I never saw it.
You guys don't know what it is?
I know what it is, but I didn't watch it.
Christian Bale is a little kid. He's in a Japanese camp. The third act of the movie, I remember thinking it did not work. Hook, this was a big hit.
I remember Hook.
But
Yeah,
I
I
wouldn't,
thought it
I
was.
wouldn't put it on the list. Jurassic Park has to be on the list. Am I
Yeah,
right?
Jurassic
That-
Park's great.
That's definitely top 10.
And Schindler's List. Dude,
Yep,
he did those in the
Yeah.
same year. This dude
Yeah,
is on a different
That's
level.
insane.
That's a different level.
He has like what it's an amazing movie, but Jurassic Park at its core is like it's a blockbuster, right? Schindler, and then he turns around in the same year, just fucking Schindler's List.
Like when
Schindler's
people
a
think,
phenomenal movie.
why do we shit on every movie? It's like, because they're not good. There are good movies out there that people make. Like this guy made
Yeah.
both of these in the same year. Like he knows what the hell he's doing.
The
There's
level
so
of
many people.
quality has definitely changed.
Yeah. Do you guys like The Lost World?
It has its moments. I wouldn't say it's amazing.
I
You can't
don't
beat the first
remember.
one.
I just
Yeah.
the thing I most remember about The Lost World is that the military shows up at the end.
Yeah.
So I guess we could say we're like 4 into our list. This is obviously on it. Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah.
Like that's number 1. So that's 5. AI, I think we can skip. Minority Report is a good movie. I would put that on the list.
Yeah, I
So
like
that's
Minority
6.
Report.
Catch Me If You Can, 7.
Yeah.
Terminal you can leave off. What do you guys think about War of the Worlds?
I liked War of the Worlds. I don't know if it's on the list though.
I liked War of the Worlds.
Yeah, I think maybe
Bottom
not.
10, maybe.
What about Munich?
Maybe. Munich is definitely in top 10 at least.
All right, so that's 8.
Munich is good.
Indiana Jones.
No. Crystal Skull, I think, is the worst one.
I don't care about Tintin, Warhorse. What about Lincoln?
I liked Lincoln.
I never saw Lincoln.
I would put it there. It's a pretty damn good character study, basically.
Okay, 10. Let's say we count Bridge of Spies 11. The BFG,
Yeah.
The Post we'll see. I mean, I know it won like an Oscar or something.
All right.
Ready Player One. Would you guys put that in there?
No.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's just not top 10.
So Bridge of Spies is top 15 for sure. Is it top 10? Do you think?
I think you could make an argument for it because while I liked Lincoln, I think Lincoln, it's a type of movie. So I think it could beat Lincoln. I think it could potentially beat Indiana Jones. I think.
Yeah, I would say
think
top 10, but not top 5.
Yeah, that's a pretty good assessment.
All right. What else about the movie? So, like, did I miss something? Or I remember. So, the guy who stood up the daughter was the assistant, right?
Yeah, that's kind of what I got.
I didn't get that. How did you figure that out?
It absolutely is. But my question was, did they come back later with that? They didn't.
No.
Right?
Nope. I don't even
wait.
think he comes back at all.
Where did you make that connection? Because I missed it completely.
When she comes up and she's like, I got stood up, and they're like, why? Who would stand you up? And then the assistant walks in and she's like nervous.
Yeah.
He stood her up because he had to do the assignment with.
Yeah, he was talking. He's like, I have a dinner date.
I thought that there was more to that, and I kept waiting for it to come back, and yeah, but it was definitely him. It's weird. That must have been like a plot line that they cut.
Yeah, it was just out of nowhere and it left immediately.
I read a little bit on the real story. So do you guys know how Abel got outed?
No, I don't know anything about this original story.
This is a book, by the way. He had I believe it's Donovan's book. He had an assistant who was like womanizing, alcoholic, like being generally like unreliable and worthless. So Abel, who's a little bit of an idiot, I think, in this case, Abel reports him to the Soviet Union. And the Soviet Union says, like, come back. So what does the guy do? He goes, okay, I'll be right there. And he goes to the US Embassy in Paris and confesses and like turns over everything. And it's like, didn't the Russians maybe think about that? Like, what do we do if we send these people to this great place? We're going to send them over there. And if they ever do something that we don't want to do, we have no leverage over them. We can't
That happened a lot. Like a lot of Russians would just defect the minute they left.
Yeah, like it seemed like this movie portrays them as being like a very competent and formidable force in terms of like the spy, like they're everywhere, blah, blah, blah. But also, like, you'd have to be a moron not to see that. Like, why would Abel do that? Like, his plan should have been to kill him. Like, if you don't want him working there, you should kill him. There's no sending him back. He's obviously going to defect. What's he going to do? Go answer to his like lords in Russia, like in a dark room, and they're going to torture him. Like, why are you not doing your job or whatever? Of course, he's going to go to Paris. Like, what a joke! How do you not anticipate that? So that guy,
is there no fear of them sending like a hit squad to come find you?
I mean, if you're being called back, it's like, you can just be like, I'm going to go into hiding.
He files a complaint, and that's it, like a complaint. So the guy gets the complaint like against him, and he's like, all right, so rather than let this play out, I'm just going to go, and then I'm going to go out Abel to the US Embassy. Like full immunity. I'll tell you exactly what I did. I'll tell you exactly who my master is, and I'll tell you what his name is, where you can find him, everything he's ever done. Just give me immunity. I'm all yours. Like, that's a pretty good deal.
Yeah.
Why would anybody go back to Russia in that circumstance? So that was bizarre. Like, I'm like, wow, Abel, you kind of like, you really screwed that up for yourselves. 4 years in prison for that, moron. So anyway, he goes, and then almost everything in the movie is accurate. Like almost everything. Donovan reports that he did try to play the illegal warrant card. He did persuade the judge, but he did it in open court. He's like, we shouldn't kill this guy. We need this guy in case one of ours ever gets caught. And that was 4 years later that Powers got caught.
Mhm.
Doesn't exactly like they kind of condense it almost, I think, in the movie. But it goes very quickly. But it was 4 years later. So Abel was in prison for 4 years, just living as an American prisoner. So then they picked him for the same reason that he had already negotiated Abel, and they figured it would be like he could do it. It's not like they had an official position for that. They didn't want official positions anyway handling it.
Yeah.
He did cross the border on his own. That's true. Let's see. Do you guys understand what happened with Pryor?
Yeah. So he was, as the wall was going up, he tried to get some people out. And then he was, captured, and the East German government saw it as an opportunity to like force the US to recognize East Germany if they wanted to negotiate and get him back.
Yeah. So the idea was what he got caught for actually was his paperwork on it was like backdoor Soviet trading inside the walls, like the economics of how they're like doing things back there. So the East Germany people consider that to be confidential information, and that's why he was charged with espionage. And so then, like you said, East Germany wanted to have like a propaganda trial to say like, this is East Germany, we're negotiating with you. So then the United States has to acknowledge that they're talking to East Germany. Basically was the idea. But Donovan did lie to his wife and tell her that he was going to London and all that. And he actually was in London, and then he would fly over when he needed to. All the people that he talked to were real. There was like a Shiskin or whatever his name was. There was a Vogel.
Even that weird fake family.
There was a fake family. Trying to think what else. I kind of missed it at the end. What type of reception did Abel get? Did they embrace him?
No,
There was
I
a
think
thing
they
that-
just shoved him in the back.
No. There was like a text thing that saying he was like celebrated and honored.
Right, but
For
in the
not
movie,
breaking.
what did they do? Like in the
Well,
actual
okay.
scene.
I don't think it actually said that he was celebrated or anything. I think it just said that he was reunited with his wife and daughter, and that he was never publicly ousted as a spy, or
Yeah.
never publicly acknowledged as a spy. But he said that line saying, you have to watch to make sure whether or not they embrace me or they just show me the back seat. They just shove him in the back. They don't give him any hugs or handshakes or anything.
They kind of touched his arm, but yeah, besides that, it seemed like they were saying he got the cold shoulder.
Yeah, that's what I kind of thought.
I could have sworn at the very end they said like something happened.
Yeah, but we're not talking about that. We're talking about in the scene, it specifically says like, watch for the reception I get. And the reception he gets is cold. But then later it says that he survived.
Yeah,
And
like
went
what
back to his wife.
actually happened was he was forced into retirement, who feared that the U.S. had convinced him to become a double agent. He was given a modest pension, and in 1968 published KGB-approved memoirs.
Right, but we're talking about in the movie.
Yeah.
So in that scene, he got the cold shoulder, right?
Yeah.
I don't remember exactly what happened to him.
In the movie it says the same thing, but
No, I know. I don't remember. I remember him saying the line where, "If they shove me in the back seat, then
they
it's
did
not
shove
a good
him.
sign."
They kind of
I
shoved
just
him.
don't remember what they did when he crossed the bridge. I don't remember the scene.
They led him to the car. They opened the back door for him. He looked back, and then he just got in.
They kind of pushed him and gestured to get in the back. They didn't like hug him. They didn't like shake his hand that I saw. I mean, he said
they even
if they
showed the
embraced me.
contrast. Like they, what's his face? They hugged the American, whatever his name was. I forgot.
So yeah, I think that movie was a little inconsistent there. It's like they set us up to think that he's going to die, and then he didn't die, and they put that in the script at the end of the film. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, no, maybe to set up some uncertainty, but then they just reveal it. That's kind of stupid.
All right. What else about the movie? he didn't actually see kids getting shot at the wall, but he said he heard of those instances.
Okay, actually, I had a question. So, remember when he gets robbed by that gang and he gets his coat taken?
Oh, right. That did
Yeah.
not happen.
Well, I was gonna say, at least in the movie, did the secretary have him robbed because he knew what kind of coat he had?
No, I think they were watching him.
Oh, okay.
But he did like have an instance where he was like surrounded by thuggy people and whatever. But he said they didn't rob him. So I guess they just played on that. But like overall, I think the movie was pretty accurate to how it went down.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like it.
Powers was later, like through investigation, said that he acted honorably. I didn't see. That's the other thing with the coin that the dollar he was supposed to spend.
Mhm.
They never even show it, like him attempting to do it.
No,
No.
not
So
attempting.
you're just meant to assume that he just never did.
Yeah.
And then, and so wasn't Abel using the same sort of trick when he got that note earlier in the?
He had a
Well,
fake nickel.
Yeah.
The idea is that it's inside the coin.
The
but
code was inside the
His
coin.
was just for intelligence gathering versus like kill yourself tool.
Right. So they were using like the same sort of instruments for that. The coin.
I thought that was a really great line though when they're teaching them about the dollar. They're like, "What do we do?" They're like, "You spend the dollar." That's a really good line. And that's a really good scene altogether when they're just teaching them about the espionage.
Yeah, and I think that they did a good job of weaving Powers into the storyline.
It is kind of unfortunate though, because they say these planes fly like 70,000 feet up or something. They won't even know you're there, and then immediately he gets shot down like the first 15 seconds he's on screen in that plane.
Right. Did you guys notice like it was a Stranger Things kid playing Donovan?
Yes. That blew my mind. I was like, wait, he was in this?
Then it was that
So
one guy
young.
from Breaking Bad, Todd or whatever.
Yeah.
He's been on a lot of other stuff now. Who else was in it? That there was Alan Alda. There was Doug's dad from King of Queens as the judge.
I thought I recognized Hanks's wife in this.
Yeah, that's the girl from The Office. What's her name? That Michael Scott marries?
Oh, Holly?
Holly. Yeah,
That's
it's Holly.
her?
Oh yeah.
The daughter is like an Irish actress, but I don't know her. Who else was in it? Anybody else that we might recognize?
I mean, just off one look, I don't really recognize any names in here.
No. Okay. So you guys ready to move on then? Do you have a fight
Yeah.
of the week, Emerson?
Yeah. So my question to you, Kia, was if you were in Donovan's position, would you have tried to get the double trade, or would you have just been like, no, I'm just going with Powers? Like, because it's kind of in the movie, like everyone is like, this is a super ballsy thing to do. Like, and I do have another fight of the week after this, but this is just something I was curious about for both of you guys. Do you think, like, obviously in hindsight it worked out, but like if you were in his position, not knowing what would happen, would you have done it?
Problem is, I think not, because this is why Hanks was like the right guy for the job, or Donovan was, because he thinks of it as one transaction. Where in my mind, I'm like, you're dealing with East Germany, and that's like the political implications are much higher, like to deal with East Germany. And now if they said like, if they sent me there and they're like, hey, you're not representing the United States, then I would definitely try. But ultimately I would be like, we need Powers because of the intelligence aspect.
Right.
And Pryor is there in there, and he like, what is he doing? Like, what an idiot, you know? And like, we'll get him. He doesn't have anything to give, so he could sit there a little longer. Yeah, it sucks for his life to be in there, but at the same time, why did you go to the Soviet Union like in the worst time?
Yeah.
So you went there to study, and like, I mean, I don't know how true how he got caught was, like trying to help that girl or whatever, but like if you were doing shit that got you in trouble, like I'm not super sympathetic to it. But if I could, I would go for it.
Yeah. Okay.
And the movie kind of opens up the opportunity to do it because they want it separately. But one thing I didn't understand is like, how does East Germany benefit from Abel going to the Soviet Union?
You mean when Tom Hanks is like, I'm going to tell your boss that they like weren't able to, the transaction didn't go ahead because of you, to the East German guy?
Yeah. Like, what do
I
they
don't-
have to gain from Soviets getting back?
Well, the thing is, like, they're basically a puppet state under the Soviet Union.
Right.
So I don't think it's so much what they have to gain. It's like they don't want to piss off the Soviets. And like the Americans are like, oh, East Germany fucked it up. And then the Soviets are mad at them.
So I would try, but ultimately I would have done what the government was asking me to do, which is get powers back.
It makes sense, I guess.
Like I would have
And then-
tried, but
Yeah. And then the other scenario, of course, because we have to go with the running theme. If it was you who was shot down over the Soviet Union and me and Everett had to negotiate your release, would you have any confidence? And what do you think would happen?
no, not at all. You would have a chance, but like, why is Everett there?
No,
Yeah.
we're in it together. We're law firm partners.
Well, we're Nelson and Murdoch.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Like, I can't even imagine what that meeting would look like.
Can you imagine, like, you're in jail? They're like, oh, don't worry. Like, someone gets a note to you that me and Everett
What do
are
you
trying
do?
to smuggle you out. You're like, fuck.
Like, you have some German connections. Everett's a Jew.
Oh,
Everett starts like flashing it while we're talking to Vogel. He puts on like a fucking Star of David. He's like doing all, Vogel's like looking at him.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how that would work.
What if
Maybe
we trade Everett.
that's what
for
I was thinking. I was like, yeah, what have you traded us?
Can you imagine? We like show up and I'm like, they're like expecting me to like be like, listen, I want powers back. I'm like, I will give you this dude who's sitting out in the lobby if you give. They're like, who is he?
Yeah. Yeah, like fake his credentials without Everett knowing like he's a 5-star general. Like
Yeah.
Yeah, but like the minute that I get into their hands, they're like, "Who the fuck is this guy?"
But
Yeah,
they
at
wouldn't
that point,
believe you.
I'm home free.
Yeah,
Yeah,
everyone would
that's-
be like,
that's
I'm not a
not their
fucking
problem.
5-star general. I don't know anything. And they'd be like torturing him. Oh God.
All right, let's move on to Roundup. I watched Old School. Have you guys seen that comedy?
No.
They don't make those types of comedies anymore, but it's Luke Wilson and he like buys a house that's on a college campus kind of.
Mhm.
And so they like build a fraternity and it gets out of control, and then like the dean wants to get them out, so then they actually apply to like try to qualify to be a fraternity, an official fraternity, and they have to like perform, and it's pretty funny.
Okay.
I don't think it would hold up to today's standards. Like, you know, it has like gay jokes and that sort of stuff that people, that's why they don't make movies like that anymore. When was the last good comedy that you saw in theaters?
In theaters? Wow.
Yeah.
I haven't really gone to see a comedy. Like there's
Have
movies.
they, like, I think that there was like that Ryan Gosling, Russell Crowe movie that was like The Nice Guys or whatever.
Uncut Gems was kind of funny, I guess.
Yeah,
it
but that's
wasn't
not,
a comedy.
Wasn't really
Yeah.
a comedy.
it wasn't that type of like, oh, let's all go laugh on a Friday night type of thing. They used to make,
Nah,
you
I
know, like
can't
Super
remember.
Bad, those
Yeah,
types of movies.
That's interesting, Kia, because what you're kind of touching on is how movies these days are sort of like the genres are starting to like whittle down into like these almost jack of all trade.
Yeah.
A little bit of horror, a little bit of comedy, a little bit of action. Like
Even on Netflix, where like the smaller stuff is supposedly being made, it's all still very much like franchise building, or like
mhm.
it's not meant to be one and done. They try, if it does well, they try to do another one. Whereas, you know, these comedies, like there's no Super Bad 2 that I'm aware of. Like they just make a good comedy, they put it out, they move on. That used to be really common. I'm not sure what happened, but anyway, I watched Old School. It was a good movie.
Okay, cool.
It was like 90 minutes. Everett, do you have some stuff?
Yeah. Season 3 of Sex Education came out, and I started watching that. I have 2 episodes left, but so far it's pretty on par with the rest of the series. It's pretty good. I like it so far. I mean, there's really not a lot to say. I'll give a a better.
I'm going
review
to start
next week,
watching
but
that now or soon. I'm going to start
Yeah.
watching that because I do like that show, that series.
Yeah.
Is that all?
Oh yeah,
I
that's all
mean,
I had.
For me, the only thing I have is still watching The Sopranos. It's awesome. It's addictive. It's very addictive.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm on like a constant loop of rewatching it.
Yeah, it's just it's a very easy show to watch, and like it's just really really good, and it's funny, it's interesting, it's engaging. Like
I would even say you don't really start appreciating it till like your third rewatch and you start to know the names of the people. And
yeah, because like
Yeah.
right now, like I was talking with you yesterday about it, Kia, and like it's difficult when you're being introduced to all these characters and they have like weird names, some of them, so you're trying to, okay, who's that, what's that, like, so
Are you at season 2 yet?
I'm on the last episode of season 1. I just haven't watched it yet.
I like Richie Aprile in season 2. All right. Gaming. We don't have a whole lot. There's not a whole lot of news either.
I have one thing for gaming that I got excited about this week,
What?
which was THQ Nordic released a bunch of stuff about the things they're releasing soon, because I think it's their 10th year anniversary, and one of them was they're doing the remaster of Destroy All Humans 2, which is like one of my favorite games from my childhood. So I'm super excited for that.
Didn't they just do like a new
They
Destroy All Humans?
re-released, yeah, they redid the first one last year,
Oh,
and
the
that was
first one.
amazing too.
Okay.
I mean, THQ Nordic, my experience with them is they made the original Warhammer RTS games, the first ones for PC, and I love that. I wish they would like give some love to that series again, but
They're doing a lot of remakes. They remade SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom. There's a whole list of things they released for their 10-year anniversary. I just don't remember a lot, but they're doing a lot of stuff. They're quickly becoming one of my favorite game studios.
So so when the Arkham games came out, or like the new DC games came out or were released, everyone was like, what the hell is this? Like, we wanted a sequel to the Arkham series, not whatever Gotham Knights is, a loose sequel to the Batman Arkham games. Nobody wanted that, some open world weird ass thing. Like, isn't it like online type of whatever? Like you make your own hero, and
yeah, it's like 4v4 or something.
Yeah.
Like,
we wanted a proper follow up to Batman Arkham Knight. There's a leak that surfaced, as well as a remaster of Batman Arkham Knight. Huh.
That'll be cool.
Does it really need a remaster though?
I don't know.
It didn't
Maybe
come
for
out
next
that
gen.
long ago.
Maybe,
Like
maybe
5
it's
years
just
ago.
like it's just the next gen. It wasn't 5 years
Yeah.
ago. It was way longer than that. Check the year it came
Wow.
out.
Okay.
Because I was living in Northridge when it came out. What year was that? Batman
Arkham Knight.
Batman Arkham Insurgency. is set to-
2015. It's like 6 years ago.
Was it 2015? All right, so 6 years. Yeah. Arkham Insurgency is set to be in development. That was the rumored title of the sequel that never became a reality.
I'm seeing a lot of like, this is the rumor, it's said to be, it's possible.
I mean, it says it could be a prequel or sequel. I think a prequel makes sense after. I thought Arkham Knight like was kind of weird in what they did.
Yeah, it kind of finalized everything at the end.
Yeah. So unless they're going to do a Batman Beyond game,
That would be sick.
but I think a prequel would be in order, like a Long Halloween Two-Face prequel with a fully fledged out Gotham City with the new hardware working for it.
If they had a Gotham City like Spider-Man PS4 has New York, that would be phenomenal.
Yeah. So we'll see. Weirdly, a Sim City style game titled Batman City Builder. Oh, Jesus Christ. A third Injustice game is going to be titled Injustice 3 Gods Will Fall. Okay. Animated adaptation of the first game on the way. Okay. I never finished Injustice 2. I just couldn't get into it. Are we losing Everett? Is it Everett's internet or mine?
It's Everett's. You're clear. Like, do you see me moving? Am I
Yeah.
frozen?
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
frozen or you see me moving?
No, I see you moving.
Yeah, so it's Everett.
Everett's been struggling. Why Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions and Spider-Man Edge of Time remastered editions were scrapped?
Are these like those old Spider-Man games?
Yeah, they were pretty good from what I remember. They weren't like Spider-Man 4 or Spider-Man Marvel PS4 or whatever. They're not that good, but they were good at the time. Let's see. Publisher was looking to release overhauled versions of both games on PlayStation 4, Xbox, and Nintendo Switch. Hoped to redo the first two Ultimate Alliance game, but the deal fell through and they pushed their luck and tried to use this new deal as an excuse to develop more Marvel titles. As a result, these new versions of the games never really got off the ground and were only going to feature minor graphical enhancements
Yeah,
and bug fixes.
Sounds about right.
The source even says that they were just a quick moneymaker by to take advantage of the hype of the Insomniac Spider-Man game.
And Ultimate Alliance 1 remade would have been fucking awesome.
Well, this Avengers game should have been like that, but better. Instead, it was something else. I don't know. Ever, did you see this SpongeBob thing? They're making a new game.
It's the Cosmic Shake. I think it's an original game. It's not a remake or anything. It's another THQ Nordic thing.
You're gonna play against are you gonna play with other characters of what?
I don't know. From what I saw, it's like a bunch of different older episodes of SpongeBob, like some of the stuff taken from there, like the Karate Island stuff and the Band Geek stuff. It's all there. I don't know. I'm not really that interested in it, to be honest.
Why?
But
you played the
I don't know.
one.
I like Battle for Bikini Bottom, but this one just kind of seems a little bit more obscure, a little bit more wacky. I don't know. It doesn't have like a linear story to me. I mean, also it's SpongeBob, so you're not supposed to take it that seriously, I guess.
But okay, what is this? Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl. These are two
All-Star
different
games. All-Star Brawl is basically, do you know Super Smash Bros. Brawl and it's that style of game, but using Nickelodeon characters.
That seems kind of interesting, right?
Yeah, I mean, so I have some friends who are super into Super Smash Brothers Melee and like the competitive scene there, and they're super excited for this. Like
Michelangelo, Leonardo, Nigel Thornberry, Powdered Toast Man, SpongeBob SquarePants, Sandy Cheeks, Patrick Starr, Oblina. Oh wow. Lucy Loud, Lincoln Loud, Helga, Reptar, Zim, Danny Phantom.
It's a lot of old properties.
Could be fun. Set to arrive on PS5, PS4, Xbox Series X and S, Xbox One, fall 2021. Oh, it's coming out soon?
Yeah.
I mean, depending on the price, I might give that a shot just for some fun gaming. I'm not good at those types of games.
I'm trash at them.
Last week, did we talk about the Spider-Man trailers? The video game trailer? Did we talk about that?
We talked about the video game.
Yeah,
it was very brief.
With Venom,
yeah,
right?
Brief.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's still not much to talk about there. I'm just trying to keep track. I think after we recorded, they released that Hawkeye trailer.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I actually thought the Hawkeye trailer didn't look bad.
It didn't look bad, but
will the episodes be filler? I don't know. It seems to me like from what I saw, it seemed like a fun Christmas movie. And the key point there is movie, like 2 hours of that. You're going to give me like 6 to 8 hours of them just running around, like giving one-liners.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I might check out mentally. I still can't get over like what we talked about last week. Like it's still hitting me. Like I don't like Marvel anymore, except for Spider-Man. And like Hawkeye is not on that list of things that I like. I like Haley Steinfeld, however you say it.
Steinfeld?
Yeah. But it's like, if it's going to be a filler show, then it doesn't matter if I like the actor. I'm still going to be like tired of it.
It'll just be boring.
Yeah.
We'll see. So I will give him this though. Like doing this whole Hawkeye, I'll be home for Christmas thing. That's a good spin on this. It is. That's the right idea because he has the family. And in the Hawkeye comic, he doesn't have a family. He's running around like all over the place. So the idea that he's like trying to get home, I don't even know if that's what they're doing, but it seemed like it.
That's what the trailer implies.
That he's like, I'm trying to get home for Christmas, but I've got these problems. Like these guys are after me, got to deal with all this. The end of the show, you assume he's going to like get there on Christmas morning or something.
Or he fucking dies and his body arrives on Christmas morning.
Yeah. What if that was the show? Like the whole time it's just like laughing and dying. And then the second to last episode, he just dies. And the last episode is then literally just being like, Christmas is ruined. Like our dad is dead. Like,
yeah. And then
like
fucking, what's her name from Shang-Chi gets the bow and she's like Hawkeye now. Not even Haley Steinfeld.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, his wife is like, at least he passed on his skills to you. And then the Avengers show up and like, Katie's there. And they're like, oh, sorry, we already got we got it taken care of. We don't need any more archers. You're borderline useless as it is. We're just gonna. I don't even know why we have her. Honestly, we just wanted Shang-Chi. Like unless you got somebody with like a cosmic ability, like bringing you along, I don't think we need another. And also, like, yeah, we're just not interested. You're kind of young. Anyway, I thought it was a good trailer, so. I'll be tentatively or apprehensively optimistic.
Okay.
All right, so let's go over some news. Venom, Let There Be Carnage star Tom Hardy teases future Spider-Man plans and the Marvel multiverse. So I think it's fair to say that Tom Hardy Spider-Man exists in a different universe. Like a multiverse type of thing.
I agree.
Not that they ever intended it that way. They were clearly trying to like tiptoe their way through like the back door into the MCU and be like, see, we were there, like we're a part of this. It's like, no, you're not. But now there's an open door, like he's there. And it's kind of this weird thing, like Marvel has done this multiverse thing. And Sony is like, okay, now you have to bring it in. You're bringing in our other Spider-Man versions. You have to bring in Venom. That's it. There's no other way. And because if they don't do it, and you're going to need another multiverse event to ever bring him in at this point, right? Like you have, like Everett said last week, there's been 2 incidents in San Francisco plus Venom, and the 3 have never acknowledged each other. Like, and Shang-Chi should have acknowledged Ant-Man and the Wasp, but Venom has not. So that means that it's like a different San Francisco. You miss this opportunity to bring him in, you're basically not doing it. So I imagine that there's some big pressure behind the scenes. Now it's gone into some interesting directions, and I don't know if you guys have seen all the news, but let's see what he says. With these things that come in 3s at the moment, and if they progress further, then it's normally the initial blocking of the infrastructure or a set of franchise movies will be 1, 2, and 3 and done. So when Venom 1 was presented, it was presented. If it was successful with 2, and if that was successful with 3. So one has to look at the whole overarching option. First, you establish a character. If people like it, then you take them on a journey. Obviously, Carnage, he's a high priest in that aspect and the arcana of the characters. What's arcana mean? He's so pretentious.
Yeah, what the fuck is he talking about?
Dude, it's like the movie is like fucking Ronald McDonald is like murdering people with CGI blades. Like, give me
a high
break.
priest in the arcana of the universe.
Yeah. Like, okay, dude. And
so
it's like you were
translated,
Carnage,
that means
man.
he's a big character in the Spider-Man universe is what that translates to.
Yeah. Okay. And like, by the way, he's on Peaky Blinders too. Like this guy, like he tries to do good roles, but he's also done some shit. Like, and he's always great. Whatever he does, he's always great. But that doesn't mean he picks like, I don't know. He's like trying to elevate this. So now I'm thinking he's trying to sell it. It's like, wow, you've got to go bigger. Or you go lateral and build the world you continue to unpack. There's a Venomverse, there's a Spider-Verse, there's a multiverse, there's all kinds of canon and lore and mythology to explore, both laterally and forward in time. I think with the right people and the right planning and feedback from the audience and understanding, it's about making the right choices at the right time. Even with the foresight of understanding where things may go already, or they wish to go, it's a combination of all those in the alchemy of what it will be. So it's not a done deal.
Also, why the fuck is he making all these alchemy reference, like alchemy, arcana? It's like, bro, just talk about what the fuck you're talking about. Like the alchemy of the lore of Spider-Man 14. And
Maybe we should go back to this list. But the important thing is that because of other news that we'll touch on, people are acting like it's a done deal. It's not a done deal. He's very much trying to sell it. You can see that, right?
yeah.
Like if you can read between the lines, he's not saying we're excited. If they had that, they would be like saying it like Venom and Spider-Man. Like they would be vague about when exactly, so that people would go to see Venom 2 and thinking they were going to see Tom Holland, only to be like teased at the end of that. If it was actually happening, that's what they would do to boost it. Right now, they keep mentioning Spider-Verse and all that because they're trying to build hype. What has Marvel said about any of it?
Nothing.
Nothing. And see, people are too stupid to realize that. Like, you need to see both sides. If they both wanted to do this, then talking about it would benefit both of them. Why would only Sony be talking about it? They're the only ones with something to gain at this point. Marvel has a movie coming out. They don't need Venom right now. Anyway, let me see. I think I had another piece of. Here we go. Venom, Let There Be Carnage star Tom Hardy spotted wearing Spider-Man No Way Home production hat. Have you ever heard of a time where someone wearing a hat was like news?
I mean, no.
What do we normally see? Actor spotted on set.
Yeah.
Tom
But
Hardy
now
was
it's
not,
like he's wearing merchandise that's related to the movie.
right. So he was not spotted on set. Now, you could say he's CGI. And so, like, I don't know that Tom Hardy does the CGI Venom. Does he? I don't think so.
He does the voice. I don't know if he does the mocap.
Yeah, I don't think he does the mocap. So, like, whatever. Who knows? That probably was done on a soundstage. Maybe you don't like. I don't know. I'm not saying it's 100% either way. I'm just saying this is not necessarily like the proof. Have you guys seen the picture?
No.
Oh, this might be it.
Are we gonna get DMCA'd? Oh.
That's the hat. Now, is it just me or did somebody give him that hat?
Someone gave him the hat for sure.
Right. So, yeah. I'm not.
Yeah.
So then have you guys heard the leak of the.
We talked about
the post-credit scene?
I'll just talk about it. It's not a huge spoiler. Okay. If you thought Venom was going to die in Venom 2, like, I don't know what to tell you, but in the post-credit sequence, it's him like looking at the news of Peter Parker being outed by Mysterio. And Venom says something like, "Ooh, he looks tasty," or something like that. Now, people are talking about, like, they're all around the internet. They're saying he's going to be in the third one or something like that. My response to that is they don't need Marvel's position to use that clip. That movie was produced by Sony.
Yeah.
Like, they don't, that means nothing. It's not even Tom Holland in the movie. It's just his picture. So they were a little bold. It's not any factual thing. Like, I was talking on Reddit or something. People keep responding to me like, "Dude, have you heard of the leak though? Like, this is what it means." Like, that doesn't mean anything. It means nothing. Anyway,
People
so like
don't
him
care.
wearing the hat. Yeah. Now, there is another interesting theory of, because we named the Sinister Six, right?
Yeah.
And we were short one.
Yeah.
So if we go through it again, I think we have Dr. Octopus.
Yep.
We have the Green Goblin. We have the Lizard. We have Electro.
Yeah.
And we have Sandman.
Mm-hmm.
The sixth one could be Mysterio, if he's not dead.
It's pretty unlikely, though.
I think
I'd
it's
put
unlikely.
It's unlikely.
It could be the Vulture, Michael Keaton. Probably
Also,
the most likely.
It's the most likely, but it would take a lot of work for him to come back. I mean, a lot of explanation.
Bro, they're dimensional portals.
So you wait.
a
So
lot of work. He broke
so let
out
me
of
so wait.
prison.
Let me get this straight. Let me just get this straight. You
Everett,
think
they're taking fucking Alfred Molina as Doc Ock from another fucking dimension.
and
I think
de-aging him like 60 years or
I
something.
think they could take the Vulture out of prison. Or it's an
Okay.
alternate Vulture, or he fell through a portal.
If you
or the-
really think about it, the Green Goblin is even older than that. How are they
Yeah.
putting them in at the same time from the same universe?
I'm
Anyway,
just saying that'd be pretty lazy if they did that.
if they did
but went
what?
from being really hard to being really lazy.
If they did what?
Well, okay, so you already have Vulture in prison. His wings got destroyed. He doesn't have any tech. If they're gonna bring him in, just drop him from another universe where he already hates Peter Parker.
No, why would it be another universe?
Well, that's what you guys were arguing a second ago, like dropping Vulture in from another universe.
No.
Because that's what I was saying. If they're
they could give him tech,
No,
they could
they
break
have
him out, they can
Vulture.
do whatever they want.
Yeah. They have Vulture.
okay, but what I was saying is the amount of work that would take getting him out of prison, rebuilding his wingsuit, and getting him involved would take a lot of explanation and work. That's what I was trying to argue.
Yeah,
You
and
see what I'm
Emerson's
saying?
argument is that that's not as much work as like bringing in Alfred Molina and William Dafoe and de-aging them all, like decades and explaining how they're alive at the same time when in the same timeline they're never alive at the same time or never like villains at the same time. Also, same goes for Sandman, who like it was never Sandman while they were
And died.
yeah.
Half these people are dead.
We're getting into that realm where it's like when we talk about time travel, there's like a billion different possibilities and it's all really tedious. And
Okay, but you're
convoluted.
saying that bringing in all those
You
villains
draw
is
the
hard.
line at the Vulture
I'm not- okay.
coming back.
Okay,
Yeah,
you know what?
Why are you drawing a line at Vulture? That's what
I'm
what
drawing
we're
a line
asking.
at never mind. Okay. If we get into this argument, it's gonna take like 30 minutes. So no, continue
Hey,
on.
I'm ready to go. Yeah, so Vulture is like probably the most likely one.
Mhm.
But also from his character, remember his whole thing was about like doing things for his family and like that was so many years ago. And I'm sure he probably like based on his character, if I was writing it, I'd be like, that guy probably doesn't hate Spider-Man anymore. Like he probably has had time to reflect in prison. His like family is like hates him and he's like, I wish I hadn't done this. Like it was the wrong thing. And then
Right.
it's like, you're going to break out and immediately be like, I'm going to kill Peter Parker. That'll fix it. My daughter
Well,
went to homecoming
there's Matt
with him.
Gargan who's also like in prison.
That was
and
the
has
other
more-
one. I hope
yeah.
it's not him. Matt
Yeah.
Gargan is 100% like the villain Spider-Man beats down in the opening scene of
Act.
like a movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
That is not a villain to be like, let's flesh out the Sinister Six here. I mean, it could be, but not
So-
that version.
Were what you were building to that like maybe the sixth one is Carnage? Or not
No, the
Carnage.
sixth one is
Venom.
Venom.
What about
Yeah.
Rhino? He's an option.
Yeah, Rhino is also an option. Paul Giamatti's Rhino. And I like, that's the thing is like, they're only bringing one from Andrew Garfield's time.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like Peter Parker is like Sandman, Green Goblin, Doc Ock, and Andrew Garfield's like, all right, I'm gonna go fight like fucking Electro.
No, wait a minute. No, Lizard and Electro are both from
Lizard,
Amazing
right,
Spider-Man.
right. I forgot about the Lizard. Yeah. Okay, yeah. I think that Rhino could be one. This is very interesting to me creatively. Like, which six are you gonna bring? If it were me, I would bring Venom. I would
Mhm.
100% bring Venom, and like because that could be the way that the symbiote gets into the MCU. Rather than going to space and doing that whole thing, you have it right there. Like Venom is in the MCU.
But I feel like if that was being done, we would have seen something. Unless they're like really, really hiding it, which I don't
agree.
see them doing.
I agree. But number one, he can't be like a full rolled villain. When you think about the six, there's no way. It's gonna be Green Goblin and Dr. Octopus leading the show.
Mhm.
Right? Electro will barely be in it. And Sandman will barely be in it. I think maybe one action scene, if you're lucky. Where they all come together and fight. Like the 3 Spider-Man versus the 6 villain, something like that. I think Electro villain, the Lizard, these guys will barely be in it. Venom also would maybe appear to attack Peter. Like, because he wants to feed on him, is my guess. And Yeah, it's not going to happen. The thing I was thinking is, what if Eddie loses the symbiote to Peter, and Peter uses it to defeat the villains, like as part of it, like, like in the third act, because he needs a little extra juice. The only thing is they're clearly merchandising other suits. That will obviously be his third act outfit. We've seen those pictures, right?
Yeah, so because by now we would have seen a black suit.
Okay,
But
wait,
that would have been
out of
cool.
curiosity. Out of
Yeah.
curiosity. So they moved Venom up to October 1st,
Yeah.
which gives them about 2.5 months until the release of Spider-Man No Way Home. If the leak is right and that end credit scene is him showing that like that thing on TV with him getting ousted, they could technically be doing that to have him be in the third movie, right? Like that's enough time. And I'm assuming at the very last second they wanted to add something with Venom. Like that's enough time to do CGI.
That's what we're saying. That's what we're saying. But at the same time, the fact that he would intentionally wear that hat, like that tells me that he's not in the movie, and that they gave him that hat to try to sell this movie.
Yeah, and drum up hype.
But I like that idea. Don't you guys?
Yeah, I mean, I'd be interested in seeing it. I just don't. In my opinion, I don't think there's any way they'd be able to keep this fucking quiet because they're trying to get as much hype as possible for everything. Like it just wouldn't make sense.
They could keep it quiet, because it's mostly CGI.
You guys think Carnage is going to die at the end? Because it'd be a real bummer if I didn't get to see Carnage versus Spider-Man at some point.
Absolutely. I think he's a goner. That's the classic thing for those villains who are like a mirror of the hero.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because you can't keep him around to fight him again. It just gets boring.
Yeah. Venom's cool. Carnage is cool. I don't know if the movies will be good. I will definitely buy the action figure. But yeah, I think the 6 is. I mean, do you guys want to take a bet?
Sure.
Like, I think that it's going to be the Vulture.
I will put my money. I'm gonna put my money on. I'll do Rhino.
You guys picked all the obvious ones because.
No, according to you, the Vulture is too far fetched.
It's easier to bring him in than Venom, but I don't know. That means I have to take Venom.
You don't have to take Venom. Is there a?
I'm not taking Scorpion.
You could take Mysterio.
Yeah, Mysterio, Scorpion, or
Mysterio's dead. But I guess I'll take Mysterio. Fine, I'll take Mysterio.
Yeah, Mysterio's dead, but like the point here is we don't know who 6 is, so we're trying to see.
We would have known if Paul Giamatti was in it.
But see, I could see it being like a suit or something. Like
it is like mainly CGI, so it'd be really easy to hide.
That's true. But still, he would have had to do the voice or something.
Yeah, you're assuming they might not just have a suit. Like they like I could see the Rhino as like this villain that comes through as the like portals collapse, and Peter's like, "Who the fuck is this?" and just like defeats him, and then like
it's basically just like a giant mech suit.
Have you guys seen? So like this is the Hot Toys prototype.
Mm-hmm.
People don't like it. I mean, some people don't like it because it doesn't have the sharp black teeth that it normally has. This is page 1. Somebody posted a different statue of it that's based on the movie. Not this one. This one. What do you think about those teeth? This looks like a comic version to me.
Yeah, that looks more comic oriented. I like it, I guess.
Carnage is. I just remember as a kid that playing him as a boss.
Yeah, that's freaky looking.
I'm excited for the action figure more than it. Like I never would have thought I would have 1/6 scale Hot Toys quality Venom and Carnage, dude.
It's pretty insane looking.
Okay, moving on. Anything else about? Okay, let's just talk Marvel stuff. Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania star Jonathan Majors teases very different Kang for next MCU appearance. Every character is different. When asked how this Kang could differ from He Who Remains, saying that the movie is wicked. I can't wait for whatever. King the Conqueror could be MCU's next Thanos level threat. Majors replied, "You can only do one film at a time." That's a good answer. Why they chose him, he doesn't know. So cool. King variants that we can't wait to meet. Scarlet Centurion. So this is King. He has an admiration for Doctor Doom. Did you know that, Everett?
No. Then again,
He donned a
seen
new
that
set of
somewhere.
armor, dubbed himself Scarlet Centurion. Short-lived persona. Okay. I wonder how many versions will they go crazy with the versions? Rama Tut is an ancient Egyptian ruler. This king made the best of a bad situation when he found himself stranded thousands of years in the past. That could be a cool story. Could be tied
Yeah,
into
that
Moon
could be
Knight's
cool.
origin. He might show up all over the damn place. What if every movie or every hero
As
has
a
like
king.
they're fighting? Yeah, at one point. I mean, I guess you could still do it as like one movie, maybe.
But that's the big twist, is that they're all connected.
Maybe two movies where it's like everyone's in their separate. It's not like Avengers coming together. It's like their separate thing, but they're all getting their ass kicked by Kang in different.
This is an
times.
alternate universe where every Avenger is just some variation of Kang.
Iron Lad. Jesus, this sounds stupid as hell.
Okay, most of the Iron Man variations I'm not a big fan of.
Nathaniel Richards, who happened to be the father of Reed Richards, but the original Kang is actually a descendant of the Fantastic Four leader.
Okay.
There is Nathaniel Richards, who happens to be the father of Reed Richards. I'm confused. Who is
This
he?
is some
So-
incest.
So what? It's a circle. Like a version of him gave birth to Reed Richards, and then Reed Richards, couple like generations down the line, gave birth to the actual Kang, who then went back and
Does
what?
that mean they'd have to cast like a black Reed Richards? Doom
If
the
they,
Annihilating Conqueror.
huh? I don't
Whatever.
know.
Kamala Khan. All right, that's enough of this. I actually that makes me less interested in seeing him. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 star was left in tears. Nebula. Okay, whatever. I'm sure you read it.
They
and
always
cried.
say this shit. Left in tears, left amazed.
We read it in the same room together and then looked at each other and we were in floods of tears. You're learning more about existing characters on a deeper level. I'm really excited at exploring Nebula post Thanos.
She dies 100%.
Well, she's saying exploring Nebula. That would make it seem like she's done exploring Nebula in this movie, at least. So that would be other movies.
Who knows?
What, a Nebula movie?
I mean, I think that this is really all about Rocket. Gamora is basically done. Like, do you guys really want to see them? Like, I don't know what they're going to do with her.
I
And
don't
Star
know.
Lord's done his thing. Drax's arc was butchered. He should have died trying to avenge his family against Thanos. And who else is left? Nebula
Groot.
and Mantis. Groot, I guess. Yeah, whatever.
Well,
Yeah.
didn't James Gunn say that Groot's not in his like final form yet?
Not yet. He might be in this movie. I'm assuming he will be.
That's the figure I want. So
Shang-Chi remains number one at the box office for third week in a row with a mighty 21 million haul. Again, I don't remember the numbers. Is that good?
What I've seen
Uh,
is that like globally it's under 400 million.
for a pandemic, I'd assume that might be good, but
You have to compare it to Captain Marvel because that was a bad movie that made $1 billion. So do we know, like, is there a way to know,
No, we checked last time. We can't see that far back.
like you can't tell like where it was week by week, right?
No.
no.
Somebody's hitting their mic. It might be Emerson.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, so what was their overall growth?
1.12 billion.
This one,
Yeah, it's right there.
56 markets. It doesn't say how many weeks really. And then this one, 21 million. Okay, at least they admit it has a major impact. Still money to be made. 21. I mean, staying at number 1 means nothing because there's no other movies out. The record for the best third weekend for a movie released in September was 29. The record for the best third weekend was 29.75. That's the record for best third weekend of a movie released in September. Whatever. Okay, what does that even mean?
Yeah, that doesn't sound like a good award. Like, here's the award for the best third weekend.
Okay, but no one even cared about it really. Like, it came out and it was all right. I don't know a lot of people that ran out to see it.
It wasn't like monumental, but it was okay.
Yeah. So this is a Marvel movie, and it's not even surpassing that yet. Okay. On 1.76. Quiet Place 2. I mean, these are horror movies. These are not comparable. F9. That would be interesting if they could pass that. But that came out. That's the new one, right? F9.
Mm-hmm.
So those are still COVID numbers. Only behind Black Widow, which, I mean, is this propaganda?
Yeah. That's what it feels like. It feels like people seeing like, see, it's good, even though the numbers are bad because of COVID. But it's like,
it doesn't mean anything. Like,
and it's like it doesn't. It's not like that good. I don't know.
I don't know. They base a lot of it off of just how much money it made. You can still see the movie, pay to see it, and think it's awful. Whatever.
The 10 rings actually went through a range of color changes. Well, that's obvious. At one point, each individual effect had its individual styled use of the rings. For example, when Wenwu was creating a bustle out of them, or a whip, or projectiles, they actually had their own unique color scheme. They were all in a similar color palette. In order to really clearly define this is Wenwu and this is Shang-Chi, we stuck to a much narrower color palette. So Shang-Chi's color actually mimic his mom's color palette. So we looked to her for her greens and for yellows and greens, especially in the initial fight between the parents. Isn't it red in the movie?
His is like orangey red.
On him, on Wenwu, it's blue. On him, it's like orange.
Yeah, because we saw that in the prototype for Wenwu, the action figure, that it was like the Shang-Chi colors. Anyway. Eternals, Kit Harington reveals that he turned down a superhero role while he was filming Game of Thrones. Does he say what it is?
I'd love to know what that is.
No, he doesn't say.
Who cares? It
Declined
makes
to reveal
sense.
the name of the film. What do you think it would have been?
It says that it looks like it's a rumor for the Fantastic Four reboot back in 2015.
It was not an Eternal. He was a human. I did like that. That would have been. That's who they're looking for Reed Richards. I don't know about that.
John Krasinski's the best one.
Yeah.
I don't know. Who else could even do that role?
I mean, honestly, a lot of people could, but John Krasinski would be the best. Shang-Chi on what you can achieve with his new 10-week training program. This is the saber arm dude.
This is what we're doing.
He was a boxer. 10-week training program. Curious to see what he's got. Is it a diet program? Florian Muntenau. Subscribe to training program.
Big and nasty.
Well, I guess you don't get to see what it is until it's pictures of him. What about the other people? Anyway. Concept art showing the overhauled Abomination. This green guy who was drawn countless times in my high school days because he always fought Hulk. I love drawing Hulk during my science class. Actually, I drew during all my classes except for science. I wanted to listen in that class.
He just contradicted himself.
Yeah. Who are they talking to? The artist? What artist? Are you guys seeing a name?
No.
No.
Oh, Anthony Francisco. I've met him. So let's see. They gave him the fish ears. It's just so stupid that there's no explanation as to what he's become at all,
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like, how did the government lose him?
It was Wong pulling him out of his cell with the portal. He put him back at the end.
So he pulled him out to fight him and
Yeah.
then put him back in?
Mhm.
Why would he do that?
I don't know, but that's what was in the movie. It
Rule
shows
of cool,
them going
Kia.
back.
It doesn't matter what it is.
Wait, Wong, it shows in the movie Wong like letting him
After
in?
the fight, like in the back room, he was like Abomination's like sitting on the floor. He's like, "Come on, Emil," and he pulls him back through the portal. And in the portal, you see like a cage,
Right.
with, like,
He puts
laser-
him back after, but how did he get out?
I would assume he made a portal and pulled him
No,
through
why
it.
would you assume that? That makes no sense. Why the fuck would he do that? If a cop puts a guy back in his cell, do you assume that the cop also let him out?
I don't know. I mean, what's the
Oh,
point
God,
then? They
Everett.
just did it to
What
be
do you mean,
real
what's
cool.
the point? Oh my God. Everett's mind is a magical place. He's like,
Oh,
yeah,
boy.
Wong broke him out of prison to fight him and then put him back.
I mean, that's what I read on the subreddit. Someone say like it's a rumor
Yeah.
that he's like his sparring partner.
Those people, Everett, you shouldn't read what they write because it makes no sense.
Why do I bother saying anything? You just giggle and laugh at everything I fucking say.
No, we giggle and laugh in between being like, why do you think this? Because X. And then you go, I don't know. Because like,
Okay, well, what's your reasoning as to why he's even in the movie?
I think that it's a really shitty cameo with poor writing.
I think that he probably broke out from somewhere, fought in
Yeah.
the tournament. Wong beats him, puts him back in jail.
Oh God, my puppies. Hold on. Give me 1 second.
I don't know. That whole sequence was kind of weird.
Yeah, it wasn't good, but I don't know. I never saw it said anywhere that Wong released him.
I mean, if all the cards on the table, I'm not really taking anything that happened in Shang-Chi with all seriousness.
I believe you slightly. But no, it's just I don't think it matters.
No, he did not break him out to fight him and then put him back. Okay, I think it's time. I gotta let the dogs out. All right, Christopher Nolan chooses Universal for his next film.
Yep.
Reported list of demands reveal. I just thought it was interesting because he always has worked for Warner Brothers.
And now he's out.
Yeah. See if his long-standing relationship with Warner Brothers. It was reported that Nolan was speaking to several other studios. It sounds like they were the only one to agree to his list of demands. Total creative control, at least 100-day theatrical window. Oh, wow. So he's burned on the Tenet thing. That's what it is. Around $100 million budget, equal marketing spend. Wow. 20% of first dollar gross, and a blackout period where the studio would not release another movie for 3 weeks before and after his film.
Wow.
Jesus.
Huh.
And a room
Now-
full of people that love his ideas.
I would say, like, with his last movie, I'm like, this might not be so good. Like, I would want to know what his ideas were before I'd agree to that. But, so that's interesting. Did you guys see Denis Villeneuve's?
Yes. I agree with it.
Yeah, but he's also a moron for what he said.
No, but it got mistranslated.
Yeah, but he
What
said-
happened?
I read his actual transcript. He says that he likes putting his own like stamp and soul and fingerprint on the movies, whereas Marvel is just like kind of a copy paste, as he makes a movie that's adapted from a book and has already been made into a movie.
Yeah, but see, I don't fault him for that because he doesn't just do this. Like if he did a Marvel movie, I don't think it would be like
He's adapting a book, and he's talking about copy and pasting the movie.
Yeah, but I don't think he's talking about the fact that they like copy pasted from comics. I think he's talking about that like all their movies are more or less the same.
Right, but he's remaking a movie that's already been made.
Yeah, but like I think if it was just one, like let me put it this way, right? If Marvel had done like one remake, I wouldn't be like, oh, all they are is a cut and paste. I'm like, okay, let's see what they do with this.
Yeah, but do you see how it weakens his argument when he's talking about Dune? And he's like,
I don't
yeah,
think-
copy and paste.
I don't know. For me, I was just like, I think what he says is true, and I understand why he feels that way.
Well, I think what he's actually referring to is how they all have the same tone and like pace, more or less, like quippy one-liners and whatever. And it doesn't matter who's making them really, because they all seem to have like bland writing and more or
Well,
less
he
the
even
same
says in his
structure.
quote, it doesn't take anything away from the movies, but they are formatted.
Sure. And I would look at him, it's like, okay, you're also copy and pasting this idea in this film, and you're gonna make it your own, but you're also trying to adapt the book. And it's like they also already made a movie about this. And it was older, sure, but like maybe don't talk about that while you're like, don't talk about Marvel while you're doing this specific project. It's so easy to like criticize him back for that.
Yeah, but Neil Blomkamp didn't fucking criticize him. He just was like, fucking asshole.
What yeah.
You saw he tweeted fucking asshole. What a fucking asshole. It's like, dude, you haven't really made anything good since District 9.
Well, but he's also saying, because he's shitting on the filmmakers of the Marvel universe, who basically saying that you guys sold out more or less, which is not entirely accurate. Like some of them are clearly in over their head, like Shang-Chi, Captain Marvel, and whatever. But some of like the Russo brothers are not. Like they definitely put their stamp on their movies. So overall, I think you should just avoid like that argument.
I saw the amount of like vitriol that like poured up towards him because he said that, and I was just like, it's just fanboyism.
The Flash director Andy Muschietti shares new teaser image of a batsuit unlike we've ever seen before. I don't like this. I do not like this Flash Batman, whatever the fuck this is. Do not want that. That better not be what he's fucking wearing in the movie. Spray painted red with the Fastest Man Alive's logo on it. There's bound to be a reason for this. Though we do wonder if it's as simple as Barry having to borrow one of Bruce's suits.
It better
We'll
not
see.
be what he's fucking wearing.
It better not. Like I want a new Michael Keaton bat suit. It better not be that. The Batman promo image gives us a much better look at Zoe Kravitz as Catwoman. Oh, I thought this was going to be a different article. There's actually a set photo of her where she's in like civilian clothing. You know, it's black, whatever. But I guess this is going to look like this. Sure. Obi-Wan Kenobi actor Sung Kang shares a pretty significant spoiler about his character.
That's Fast and Furious picture.
Yeah, my friends and I would play pretend, and we would make our own lightsabers, blah, blah, blah. Wait, so he's saying that he has a lightsaber?
Yes.
Okay.
So who's that? A Force-sensitive character, Jedi hunting fifth brother.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
He's one of those. He's an Inquisitor.
Yeah.
It's like one of Vader's like personal assassins that go and hunt down Jedi.
All right. The Witcher season 2 still features Henry Cavill's Geralt of Rivia heading into action with his trusty blade. So, when does that come out?
December, I think.
December 17th. Okay, not bad. Right after
I'm
Far From
excited.
Home. Yeah. And
That'll be
then
nice.
let's wrap up. The worst creative decisions made with Spider-Man in the comic books. Poor man's Tony Stark. They had this suit in the game, and I hated it. It looks weird.
The glowy shit.
Peter chose to take full advantage of the good Dr. Octopus had done while in control of his body, taking charge of Parker Industries. Oh, God. A billionaire businessman with a ton of gadgets. He was Tony Stark light. I mean, that's what he is right now in the movies. Spider-Man joins the Avengers. This is a worse thing. It unfolded in the pages of Brian Michael Bendis' new Avengers series, joined his fellow heroes in stopping a breakout in the Raft. But this is the Ultimate Universe. Portrayed as a loner, Spidey suddenly became a key member of the team. I remember this. It was not the worst thing. It led to the unmasking in Civil War. You know, it's okay to have different versions of the character. Radioactive spider sperm.
Oh boy, this.
What is this?
This is
Spider-Man
infamous.
Rain? possible futures. New York has fallen under the control of a fascist government where superheroes are no more. Parker's in his 60s, declining mental health. Zombie Dr. Octopus, Venom symbiote. Mary Jane isn't around. That's because after spending years having sex with Peter and sharing his DNA, she ended up suffering terminal cancer. The wall crawler's radioactive sperm killed his wife, which led to him giving up being Spider-Man. Wow. Organic web shooters.
It's not terrible. They've done it right in the movies, at least.
It's not the worst idea because he's getting his DNA from a spider. Like he has other spider abilities. A naked Peter bursts out of the carcass, revealing that he now has insect telepathy and organic web shooters. Wow. I mean, the telepathy is way worse, I would say.
Yeah.
A death and resurrection. 90s were not a good time for Spider-Man fans. That's not true. They had that TV show. End of marriage. And MJ is being stalked by a mystery villain that ends up dying after boarding a plane that randomly explodes. Her stalker faked her death and held her count. Okay, forget this. Sins past.
Oh, this is this the one where Green Goblin has sex with Aunt
one
May?
of them. He unmasks one of two villains and finds Gwen Stacy's face staring back at him. Okay.
Okay, it's
Enough
not.
of that. The lizard kills Billy Connors.
That's a pretty gruesome looking
Is
scene
that
right
his
there.
son? Overwhelmed, murders his son in the process. It is. It's funny, like the lizard, whatever. The clone conspiracy. I didn't like the clone saga. A lot of people do. Ben Reilly beneath the Jackal's mask. Okay, who cares? Superior Spider-Man.
Oh, this one wasn't that bad.
Dr. Octopus and Peter Parker's body. Yeah, whatever. One More Day. People hate this one, but One More Day picked up shortly after Peter had revealed his identity to the world and became a wanted fugitive after turning his back on Iron Man and his pro-superhuman registration act of forces. They're saying that Far From Home has, or No Way Home has a little bit to do with this.
It's because he goes to Mephisto in the comics and asks
Yeah.
for everyone to forget it. Yeah.
Seeking to take ultimate revenge on his old enemy, the Kingpin puts out a hit on Spidey and his poor family. Aunt May ends up taking a bullet. She's dying. Peter is forced to take drastic measures. After everyone he turns to makes it clear that they can't help, the Marvel Universe's version of the devil, Mephisto, offers Peter a deal. His marriage in exchange for his aunt's life. Peter and MJ, his marriage, but Aunt May will die. Peter and MJ accept, and what followed was a new status quo for the web slinger, which regressed his character development by a good 20 or 30 years. Now Nick Spencer is seemingly looking to undo the damage caused here.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand. Like, what are they saying? He's
Basically
30
what
years of character development. What are they
became like swooning for Mary Jane again is the point that I think
they
they're trying to make.
rewind time basically. She forgets he
Okay.
exists.
They do that all the time in comics. Like 30 years of him like pining for her.
What's that Gandalf gif?
I don't know. They don't like it. I mean, this does sound a little bit like the No Way Home trailer, doesn't it?
There have been so many speculations about Mephisto and all that stuff in the MCU. It's kind of overblown. But I see the inspiration.
So anyway, I think that wraps it up for this week. Next week we will do Harry
What about my
Potter.
game of Smartass, Kia?
Oh, yeah. Go ahead. I always forget.
Okay. Emerson, you start this week.
Place.
All right. Okay, you guys ready? Here we go. This location has a diameter of about 12,000 kilometers. It has been featured across all mediums, meaning film, comics, television, and books. Every time, stop thinking about the mother comment. Every time.
Okay.
All right. It contains multiple large levels that descend deep underground. It was featured heavily in a sci-fi film from the year 1999.
Fuck, what the fuck is the place? Zion.
No.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Can you say the clues again?
From the beginning?
Yeah. It's
Okay.
like 3 clues.
This location has a diameter of about 12,000 kilometers. It's
Oh,
been
wait,
featured
yeah.
across all mediums, meaning film, television, and books. It contains multiple large levels that descend deep underground. And it was featured heavily in a sci-fi film from the year 1999.
1999. I have no clue. The Men in Black headquarters.
No. All right, moving on. It has been attacked multiple times. It exists in the system of the core worlds. It serves as
Coruscant?
the correct. Nice job.
What wasn't that an answer like very recently?
Coruscant? No.
All right.
All right. You got thing and person. What's
Person.
next? Person. All right. This person first appeared in the year 2004. They've appeared in games, comics, and a set of limited short films. Their name is a title that has been held by multiple people. They stand at about 8 feet tall. They are a very capable warrior, proficient in both hand-to-hand combat and weapons combat. They were sentenced to death when they failed to protect a holy artifact. They have 4 fingers on each hand and 4 mandibles on their face. They served as supreme commander of a massive military force. They rebelled against their rulers in favor of an alliance with humanity. This person is voiced by Keith David. Their main weapon of choice is an energy sword.
Oh, the elites.
Elite.
That's not a person.
The
So
Arbiter.
no. Correct. That's
Fuck.
correct.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest. I had no idea what the fuck it was.
I didn't have a clue.
I was like, mandibles. Is it the Predator? But what the fuck? Like,
I
They're not-
I was picturing elites in my head, but I didn't connect what they were because that's the only thing that I know with 4 mouths. That's like a military thing.
Anyway, last thing is thing. Here we go. This item's first appearance was in the year 1977. It was central to the first film that it appears in. While it is seen in other forms, it is mainly seen as a small handheld device. It was in the possession of multiple people over the course of many years. It was stolen at one point. This item could emit a small hologram for display purposes. It was considered to be one of the galaxy's best guarded secrets.
We're gonna name the device.
What the item is.
Oh god, I don't know the name.
Do you have a guess?
Yeah, but I don't know the name.
Okay, well, I'm going to continue to read hints then. It revealed a critical weakness when properly examined.
oh fuck.
This
I know
item,
what it is. What is that called?
Is it a
This-
holocron?
no. Kia,
Wait, now I have to guess. A video file.
no. This item ultimately caused the deaths of both Jyn Erso and Cassian Andor.
Death Star plans?
Correct.
Okay,
job.
cool.
That's the
right.
name of the device.
Yeah. The Death Star plans.
Yeah. Yeah. Give me
Oh my
that bonus
God.
question.
Well, I have a little special thing for the bonus question this week. I'm going to give Kia the opportunity to either help you or screw you over. So
Why would
I
he
have-
help me?
I have 2 extra questions prepared. Door number 1 and door number 2. Kia's going to pick one, and that's the question I'm going to give you. One is significantly harder than the other. So, Kia, do you want door number 1 or door number 2?
But I don't know which one is harder.
No. Whichever one you pick is the question I will give Emerson, and that will determine whether or not he wins the question because one's harder than the other. So just pick one. Door number 1 or door number 2?
So I don't actually have a choice in helping him. I'm just gonna pick one.
You're just picking a random
He
question.
might get lucky and it'll be easy. Okay,
Yeah.
door number 2.
Door number 2. All right, ready, Emerson? You want to take the
Sure.
question?
Yes.
What race of people in the Star Wars universe originally designed the Death Star?
Oh, the Genosians.
Correct. Nice job.
Was that the hard question?
That was the easier question.
What was the hard one?
The harder, well, I guess you'll have to figure it out. Never
What?
mind.
What do you mean? I'll have to
I'm not gonna tell you.
How
What
are
the
you
fuck?
supposed to figure it
I
out?
have to figure it.
I'm not telling you.
That's
So-
stupid.
So you got 40. Okay, so you're at 43. Kia's at 39.
Okay,
That's-
I'm just gonna say I knew it was the Death Star plans. I didn't know that's what you were calling them.
No, I want to hear what the harder question was gonna be.
You had to have picked it, so I'm not telling you.
I mean, that one would have been way too hard for me anyway. So like the Genosians, I did not know that.
I just want to know what the harder question
I'm
is.
not
like, if it
telling
was
you.
really
He
hard
didn't
or
pick.
not.
He didn't
No.
pick it.
As
so I'm not telling
Everett
you.
said, we just have to figure it out, Kia.
All right, let's
I'm not
narrow
telling
down every topic in the world, and then every topic that's fictitious, and then slowly start crossing off every possible question.
Okay, Everett, was the question, was it the gray aliens?
What?
Well,
hell
this
does
is
that
how we have to
mean?
narrow it down to you. We have to ask you every
I'm not
possible
telling you the question.
Then why did you say we have to figure it out?
Okay, that was a slip of the tongue. Who cares? Game's over. Congratulations. You got more points this week. That's it.
Okay, so next week we'll do Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban,
Okay.
or
All
Azkaban.
right.
I don't know how you say it.
Is
And
Jade
then-
going to be joining us again, or
We'll see. I don't know. And then after that, is it time for Venom?
seems like
Yeah.
it.
Wait. Yeah. Next week will be, or 2 weeks from now will be Venom. So
Okay, cool.
All right.
All right, guys. I will see you next time.
See ya.
See ya.